Hello everyone, it's David here with a breaking news pod after Rangers confirmed Derek McInnes has been appointed as our new manager. Not a great shock. I think the speculation over the last few days had made it fairly clear who Rangers wanted. But yes, Rangers have confirmed him as the men's first team manager. Very interesting that that's the phrase that was used, not head coach. I'll read you the statement from Rangers. It says, Rangers today confirms the appointment of Derek McInnes as our new men's first team manager on a 3-year contract. The club welcomes Derek back to Ibrox as he joins from Heart of Midlothian. He brings with him vast managerial experience, having taken charge of over 800 matches, and an understanding of what it means to win at Rangers after playing here for 5 largely successful seasons from 1995 to 2000. His managerial career began in 2007 at St Johnstone, and he's gone on to spells at Bristol City, Aberdeen, Kilmarnock, and most recently Hearts, where he was named PFA Scotland, SPFL and SFWA Manager of the Year. Joining with Derek will be assistants Alan Archibald, Paul Sheeran and Craig Clark. Speaking upon his appointment as Rangers manager, Derek McInnes said, "It is a real honour to become the manager of Rangers Football Club. It is no secret I grew up a Rangers supporter, and I am convinced this is the right time to take on this prestigious role given the club's structure and leadership from Andrew, the board and Jim. The demands here are clear, and our supporters rightfully have high expectations. It is up to me, my staff and my players to meet those expectations and have this club performing as it should. There is a lot of hard work ahead, but already the preparations have begun, and I am looking forward to meeting the current squad in the coming weeks and welcoming some new faces." Rangers chairman Andrew Kavanagh commented, "I am delighted to welcome Derek to Rangers. He is someone we have always rated highly, and we believe he is exactly what this club needs at this moment in time. His deep Scottish and Rangers experience are important for us. He knows how to win in this league, and he is coming off an extremely strong season with Hearts." Rangers CEO Jim Gillespie added, "Derek understands what this club stands for and the standards required to succeed here. We are very pleased that we were able to get Derek in position prior to pre-season training beginning. With Derek's addition to the team, we will continue to drive forward to make this club win consistently." Joining me then on the pod are, I think it's fair to say, a good selection of podders in terms of excitement about the announcement. We've got one who has craved this moment for several years and is I'm hoping he's going to be able to do the pods, that he's not being distracted by his erection at this point, and that is Kevin Armstrong.
Hello everyone, first Shanklin, now Dale. What a summer this has been already.
It's a summer of Kev, really, isn't it? It's as
really
if you planned all this out. Yeah, you're getting everything you want. Get a lottery ticket on, son. That would be my advice. Joining us, a man in the middle, I would say, Colin.
Yeah, very much in the middle. More so, just delighted it's happened so relatively quickly and we're not messed about, really.
And a man who described himself as being fairly meh on it, David Marshall.
Always a pleasure to come on and talk about erections, however.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one of the reasons we got you on. You're at the age where you're still an expert in that. It's more of a memory for me these days. But yeah, well, we'll start with you then, Kev. You've long championed Derek McInnes as a potential Rangers manager. You've long wanted this to happen. First of all, tell us, how you're feeling about it. But secondly, why? Why you think that this is and has been what Rangers have needed? Because you've been very consistent on it.
I have. He's just a guy that I've kept an eye on through the years. He's not sexy, he's not glamorous. I think you mentioned in the Daily Update today, a lot of our support can be a wee bit snobby when it comes to the SPFL. We always
including
tend
me. Got to hold my hand up to that.
It's fair.
Including
more
me.
Than fair. Yeah. And sometimes I think Adam Thornton used a phrase a couple of years ago where we always look for that lottery win, where we always look to just pluck someone out of nowhere and have them propelled to superstardom. Derek's not that. If you look at the jobs he's done, he's always taken clubs, he's improved them and took them far beyond where he started with them. Now, to us, second place finishes with Aberdeen, getting Kilmarnock into Europe, and of course coming within a couple of minutes of the league with Hearts. That might not scream glamour, but then you sort of look at what we've done over the last couple of years, and it's not exactly trophy laden, is it? So no. I just think he'll bring back a wee bit of identity. He'll bring back a wee bit of a connection with the manager's office that I don't think we've had since Steven Gerrard. I don't want to use phrases like he gets it and he knows the league because that's there for all to see. I just think he will create a bond. And if you look at even just last season, what he'd done with the Hearts support, never mind the team, he really got them invested. He got them believing. And I don't think for the longest time the Rangers support's been able to invest in a manager and believe in a manager since Gerrard, and even that took a couple of years. Is he perfect? No. Is he the hero that we all want him to be? We don't know, but I think he's very much the man that we need just now to get that identity back, to get that Rangers feeling back about the squad and about the club. I think you've seen the outpouring of joy when Shanklin signed, and I'm hoping that will be continued with Derek.
Colin, obviously we've all had a couple of days really to get our heads around this. I don't think that there's anything, particularly shocking about this appointment. My understanding is that there was no shortlist this time. Rangers wanted Derek McInnes. They went for him straight away. Obviously, they were aware of the interest in Danny, and then it became clear that he would be going, and they went and got Derek McInnes. And I think the speed of this appointment backs that up, because we've seen in the past that Rangers have taken quite a bit longer usually, but certainly longer than this to make these appointments, and this one has been very, very straightforward.
It had to be, didn't it? Because of the time of the pre-season we're into and how urgent that pre-season is. We saw how Danny Rowell struggled last year because he wasn't here and didn't have a pre-season, and he kind of echoed back to that a fair few times. So it had to be, and given if that's who they wanted and there wasn't even a shortlist, then it does make sense, and it probably is a good appointment. We were kind of under the belief before that it was the usual shortlist of the last few years of Steven Gerrard, Derek McInnes and possibly Kevin Muscat, and if that was where we were looking and that was the names linked, I think Derek McInnes is probably the right person for all the reasons that Kev mentioned. I'm not as optimistic or as joyful as Kev is about it, but Kev did a pretty good job of selling it to me there, actually. I think just over the last few years, and given the experiences we've all had as Rangers supporters and what we've all been through, the best kind of way to approach this stuff is let's just wait and see. I'm optimistic. I think he could do well. I think he's got all the tools to do well for us, for all the reasons Kev mentioned. And we're not going to go out and get the perfect manager anymore. Just in the same way we're not going to go out and get the perfect player, because the perfect player and the perfect manager just don't want to come to Scotland and don't want to come to Rangers. Is Derek McInnes the best manager we can probably get at this time? Possibly. Is he the right man for the job at this time? Probably even more so. So I'm fully behind him. I'm quietly confident he can come in and do a good job. And I think he will lift the team. I think he will lift the support. And kind of to echo what Kev said, I think if he doesn't hit the road running right away, automatically straight out the dock sort of thing, he'll get a little bit more patience and a little bit more time than Danny would have got if Danny had stayed a bit longer, or even if somebody fresh, brand new had come in and didn't have that rapport and that history with us. So for that reason as well, I think it's a good thing and something we're possibly going to need.
Dave, your opinion on the move?
Fairly. I don't want to say underwhelmed is the right word, but it's just looking at the more overall stuff surrounding the club. I think one thing that does concern me slightly is the appointment of McInnes to me suggests that the idea that the owners had for Rangers when they first bought the club has been totally crumpled up and thrown out the window. Now that could be a good thing in one way.
I was going to say, is that a bad thing if their plan was wrong? If the plan didn't work, that they've realised that?
Yeah, there's absolutely that way, because obviously what they did when they first came in, appointing Russell Martin, was very much the wrong thing. But at the same time, I do worry that they still don't really know what they're doing, and this is just, taking a punt on a guy who'll be relatively popular with the support, and as Kev mentioned here, he covers a lot of the cliche basis of he knows the league he gets it, etc., etc. And that's not me having a dig at Derek McInnes. I'm just is that a way for the ownership and those running the club to justify it? Again, this is something that's not really Derek McInnes' fault. I just find it kind of depressing as well when I think back to when he was last linked to the job, when we thought he was on the eve of getting it. We were 6 years away from winning anything, and here we are, nine years later, 5 years away from last winning the league. In that time, we've won both the cups and got to a European final, and somehow it seems in those 9 years we're right back to where we started. Only Rangers could do that. I really don't know how this is going to go. I'm a wee bit sceptical about the idea of he will get a wee bit more time than Danny Rule will. I think that's true, but I think also what will be true is if we have a slow start to the season and we get to the point of October again where we are, a good few points off the top of the league, and it looks like it's going to be another washout season where it's over from where they began before it even begins. I don't know how the support are going to react to that.
Well, you do, but it'd be the case for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Of course,
any manager coming in. Yeah, that's just the reality of the situation. Kev, Dave's made his points. I'll turn to you for a rebuttal.
Listen, I'm very much aware. Colin touched on it. We are not going to get the perfect manager right unless we can clone Walter Smith. I don't think that's possible, that we could get someone on board that everyone will be totally relaxed and comfortable with. Gerrard and Dale were the two leading candidates for most people. I think even if we got Gerrard, there would have been a lot of questions about him. Did he still have the hunger for it? Who would his team round about him be? Etc. etc. So I'm perfectly aware of there's going to be questions, but I do a lot of the other SPFL stuff, and I've taken a lot of the interviews and stuff like that. I watched him be interviewed when he was Kilmarnock manager. I think there was bits on the Sun website and stuff on other websites that we're not really too friendly with, but go and give them a watch and give them a listen and listen to the way he talks. And he just talks common sense, and I get talk is cheap. 100% get that. We've all listened to managers tell us stories, tell us what to hear. People say they're Rangers men and stuff like that. McInnes is a Rangers man. He knows the standards. He's managed tough personalities. He's managed maverick players, shall we say. He's spoken about how he gets the best out of them. He did, of course, learn a wee bit under Walter, and he spoke about how Walter was actually more of a mentor to him when he became a manager rather than when he was a player. He said he felt a lot closer to Walter then. He turned to him for a lot of advice. Dave mentioned that the fact that we went from 9 years ago, there's various stories about why that broke down. But again, you've mentioned as well that I think he's a much better manager now. And I think that's hopefully goes on to benefit us and him, that he's perhaps more ready to take the job. And listen, I think the negative things about Derek McInnes, people say, oh, he plays negative football, it's terrible. But a lot of these people, I think, only maybe watch his teams when he brought Aberdeen and Kilmarnock to Ibrox, where they're not really going to come out. They're going to sit and try and soak up pressure and hit an counter and get a set play. I think we might surprise a few people. If you look at his history, he never really spent any money until he went to Hearts. And a lot of that was on Jamestown folk. So how much of an input did he really have? We don't know. Again, I'm not saying that for positive or negative, but I'm really excited, and I hope that he proves a lot of people wrong. I think we'll stick with sort of like 4-4-2 for most of the games. I think you'll see two wingers.
Sorry.
Two wingers. I think one of them, he always speaks about them being inverted with the left foot on the right.
See if I turn up next season and there's a man on the post.
You're over. You won.
I think I might just expire. I think I might just go, I'm never going to be happier than this. Look, both of you make a lot of good points. My views on McInnes have gone up and down. I really rated him highly. Then he turned us down, and I was bitter about it. Then he kept beating us, and I got very bitter about it. But I've been really, really impressed with the job he did, both at Kilmarnock, incidentally, who there was nothing to spend, and he took them into Europe. And I think that we've seen with Kilmarnock subsequently how big an achievement that was. And then he took Hearts. Obviously, I expected Hearts bubble will burst. I was that guy. Bubble will burst. It never burst. And it was after we beat Hearts 4-2. I was sitting in. He came in the press conference. I was expecting him to be raging. Do you remember that was a great game, guys? Remember, it was just a brilliant game of football, right?
Yeah.
And he came in and he was super calm. There was no kind of Keegan-esque. Like, he sat down and he went, do you know what? That was a brilliant game of football. Pleasure to be involved in. Didn't fall for us today, but I know that the lads, they've shown me again what they can do, and on other days it will. The crowd were brilliant today, but the next time it'll be our crowd, and I hope they have the same impact. And as he walked out, I thought, do you know what? The players in his dressing room are going to be sitting going, aye, brilliant. There was no head loss, no, clinging to a referee, nothing like that. Just, we lost a game of football to a really good team, but we're confident we'll beat them the next time. And I thought that level of maturity is something that he didn't have before. And that's why I've said when he's, when Rule Leaving came up that he was my choice. One of the concerns that Dave mentioned, and I do have this, is that in our heads, we're all searching for Walter Smith. We all just want Walter back, right? Because to us, our idea of what a Rangers manager is, he's got grey hair, a sleeveless cardigan, and he's called Walter Smith, right? And it'll never change for people of our generation, lads. I know that. And I do worry that maybe I'm projecting some qualities onto Derek McInnes. But equally, Colin, to Kev's point, it's all right. We could go out and get, a great coach. I think we did it in Danny Rowe. I think he's a very good coach. I think he's very well respected in the game. Jurgen Klopp was the guy that picked him out for this role that he's gone to. But we are a unique institution, and in a unique set of circumstances, even in our history, you do need to know the lay of the land. You do need to almost instinctively get it. And yes, that does limit us in terms of a pool. But the reality is, if we'd brought in a coach, I think we were all impressed with the Motherwell coach last year, but he still had a slow start, a really slow start. You can do that at Motherwell. You can't do that at Rangers. And I just think that McInnes is somebody that you're eliminating as much of the risk as you possibly can, because there's always a risk with any managerial appointment.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair, and I do actually agree with that. One of the things I'll say about recruiting Derek McInnes into this role is that for the first time in quite a while, we're recruiting a manager who will see this as the pinnacle of his career. Somebody who's worked hard and always wanted to get here and will be delighted to be here. And it probably isn't going to be here thinking, maybe win the league, maybe win 2 leagues, and I'll get to go to England. I'll maybe do this, I'll maybe do that. We've actually probably got somebody who understands this job, like you say, understands how important the position of manager of Rangers is, not head coach, manager, and what comes with being the Rangers manager and what expectations are. And he's going to have the drive and the understanding to hopefully make that a success. And in the past, we've had Steven Gerrard, who had no experience really as a manager. Always the plan was to get to Liverpool eventually. That's not worked out for him. We had Giovanni van Bronckhorst, who it didn't work out for a number of reasons domestically, despite how well he did in Europe, even with the kind of Rangers history that he had with us as well. We had Michael Beale, who had the history of winning as Steven Gerrard's team, couldn't replicate it himself. We had Philip Clement, who for various reasons just couldn't get his head around it. But we've got somebody coming in now at this important time with a pre-season, with a full transfer window ahead of him, who knows the league. He's not coming in having to learn things. He's not coming in and having to get his head around all the weirdness and strangeness that is Scottish football, all the little intricacies that only really exist here. And he understands it. I'm well known for saying the whole he gets it thing is overrated and it's not the most important thing. But there's a difference between, he gets it, he's a Rangers man, and he is knowledgeable, he's intelligent, and he knows what's expected of him. I think that's two very different things. And he comes down on the right side of that for me. So, yeah, I started this pod quietly optimistic. Kev's got me moderately optimistic now. And like I said right at the very start, I'm just delighted that it's happened so quickly. We've moved at speed. We've got somebody in and we're ready for the season to start in the best possible way. Because a week ago, as far as we're concerned, none of this was really anticipated or expected. And here we are now.
It was feeling like a drab start of the season. And as you say, if nothing else, it has given a bit more intrigue, a bit more shot in the arm, I think. And most fans, not all, as Dave is their representative on this show. But no, I mean that genuinely, Dave. Not everyone is for it. And it would be remiss of us to say that it was. What I think... Colin, you made the point there about getting it, right? And we can't overvalue it. Look, we'll always, already people said to me, people are saying to me, is he getting a Rangers man in the coaching staff? Well, we've had loads of Rangers men in the coaching staff over the last 10 years and it's done fuck all in terms of use, and they all understood the club. So the idea that it's a magic wand, I don't believe. But what I will say is you can see it in the difference. Philippe Clement, who's clearly a very talented manager and is proving it Norwich City and may well take them up to the Premier League next season. He didn't get it. And by that, what do I mean? In Clement's mind, he was, well, we've got the second biggest budget and we're second. Don't really, that's par. We're doing fine. It's not what we want, but it's we got to a couple of cup finals and okay, we lost them, but we're getting there and it'll eventually turn around for us. That's what I mean about getting it or not getting it. That's the difference. That instinctive understanding of no matter how it would be viewed at another club, how it's viewed at this one.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's my definition of when getting it is important. Getting it isn't just being a Rangers man. We're all Rangers men. We probably wouldn't be very good Rangers managers.
I don't think there's any need for that probably there, mate.
Well, you never know. Just need to put it out there. But yeah, getting it for me is understanding the culture of this league, the culture of this country, the expectations, the environment, all the things you're up against at Rangers that you're not up against at other clubs. It's not just on the pitch, it's not just opponents, it's everything. And he knows that and he understands it, and that's a big plus for me.
Dave, one thing that I think about McInnes is I think that there is this understanding of it is all about the victory. Yeah, we want to play a certain way, and I'm sure that'll come up during his tenure. But it is about just getting the team over the line. And I think that understanding might well prove useful. But as Kev said there, Hearts did play some good football at times last season. Not always, but there were games they dug in and did what they needed to. And that's the sort of balance I think we need.
Yeah, I don't really know if I agree with Kev when he said that we might be surprised with some of the football that McInnes plays. I remember speaking to you boys in our group chats and whatnot through the season and saying that anytime I've watched Hearts, I've never been overly impressed with how they play. But in the same token, yeah, I'm never really concerned about how Rangers play as long as they play winning football. So that's not really a major concern for me. If I could just talk a wee bit on like the menace of it all, to invent a word. I think for me, David, a lot of the menace doesn't even really surround McInnes. It'd have still been there, whoever we appointed as manager, except for me, probably Steven Gerrard, but that's because I fancy him. But there's still a lot of things at the club outside the manager that I'm not convinced is fixed. A lot of things around the recruitment and other areas of the football department that I'm not sure are working properly. I don't know what input McInnes will have. I certainly hope he's got a input in the recruiting and whoever he's going to work with that. But I think our biggest problem over the last however many years, and this was a problem even before the new owners, but it's just exaggerated with the money we did spend. We spent a lot of money on players who have simply not been good enough for Rangers. If we continue to do that, then it doesn't really matter who we get as a new manager. We will continue to struggle.
Yeah, this is the thing. People who try to make it a binary choice that it's either about the manager or players. No, it's about both. If you have a terrible squad, you could put Pep in there. He'll improve it, but it won't reach heights. And conversely, you can have a great group of players if you've got a manager that they all hate, then the chances are success is going to be limited as well. So I think there is that. Kev, what are the advantages of having him in for pre-season?
Hopefully he should know exactly what we need. Now, let's be honest here, boys, there's not exactly a lot we don't need. He will have one sort of set of boots on the ground already with Shanklin being here. He'll have done his plans to come up against Rangers last year, right? He knows where our weaknesses are, whatever word we want to use. So hopefully he'll have an idea of where he wants to start rebuilding this team and this squad. What I don't want to see is hundreds of Hearts players coming, because if you sign enough Hearts players, you become Hearts, right? Hopefully with a bigger budget, and hopefully Dave's right as well, right? We've sort of had a wee look about some other players. Hopefully we'll get some lists that we've been working on that we can put to them.
Sorry to cut across you, but Jim Gillespie spoke about this at Narsa, and he said that there is a process involving recruitment team, obviously, in the club, but the manager does have a veto on players. So they're not going to give a manager a player he doesn't want. The manager can say, no, I don't want him. And that would be respected. According to Jim Gillespie. That's
good, because last year I think we had a few in the door that Russell Martin clearly didn't want or fancy. But hopefully that's joined up. I don't think the profiles will differ too much from what Danny Rowe would have went for, as in like physicality. We know Dale likes a lot of physicality in his teams. He doesn't like to be bullied. He likes hard workers. But we need a bit of effort first. The old phrase in sport that talent and working hard, etc., etc. How many times did we come on post-match last year and say that a team outworked us? I don't think that will be the case this year. I've watched lots of interviews over the last week or so with Derek, and that's how he talks about people not working hard enough. They don't get in the team. You've got to do your due diligence. You've got to keep your standards high. And I get it's all just sound bites and whatnot, but I fully expect us to be a lot more physical and a lot harder working next year. I don't think you'll see us being brushed off the ball and outran and people outpacing us to score goals the way we were towards the tail end of last year.
Dave, to maybe then come at it a different angle with your good self. You and I have spoken about this on shows and just when we've been together about how recently Rangers teams have been difficult to identify with for us. And I think there is a conscious move from Rangers. This is not insight. They have literally spoken about this. We've heard it direct from Andrew Kavanagh and from Jim Gillespie. A conscious move to sort of arrest that and getting in guys like Derek McInnes, Lawrence Shankland, possibly some others. Is there a sense perhaps that they are trying to, if you like, reconnect Rangers to our roots?
Possibly, yeah. I think that's my worry with this is, and it's been my worry with Rangers for some years now. I don't think whether it be the old owners or the new owners, I don't think anything's ever been done maliciously. I think there's always been good intent behind every decision, and
yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, we went about it. What's been our problem has been the execution of it all. Now, saying that you want to bring up, a more Rangers identity, bring us back to our roots with guys like Shanklin and McInnes is all very. Is all very well and good, and I support it. I'd like to think myself, Dave, is very much a Rangers traditionalist, so I like seeing my managers in their suits and their brown brogues, for example. So yeah, I'm all for that, but what I really want to see is a team winning it again. Does bringing that bring us back to a more Rangers roots kind of focus? Do that possibly? Little bit sceptic about that, but I'm happy at the very least for us to give it a go.
Well, I think the key thing coming out of this chat is that if it does go wrong, it's Kev's fault.
Always.
Let's hold on to that. Let's definitely.
I'll take that for this one.
And I would like the listeners to remember in this season that should it go wrong and Lawrence Shanklin failed to score some goals, it's Kev's fault. So if there's one thing you take out of this podcast, listeners, that you can entirely blame Kevin Armstrong should things go tits up. And Kev, it's wonderful of you to take that burden on for the support, and I'm sure they thank you.
Well, it's a wee change because Adam and whatnot, they were all Scov Olsen, so it must be my turn then. But I'll see you hopefully back here in May when we're playing some youngsters because we've won the league, we've won the double, and we've got one game to go. So we're resting the players because they're too drunk to play the Scottish Cup final.
Yeah, look, this is... I need some silverware waved at me. It's like heroin, right? I'm jonesing here. And I do understand that people can say, and I have said it in the past, so I totally understand where it's coming from, that, oh, you can't just keep abandoning the plan and going back to... But then, as Kev said, you're going back to the thing that worked isn't necessarily a bad idea. You still need to be aware of how it all works in the modern, but the ideals, etc., the kind of thought processes. I do think it's very noticeable that Andrew Kavanagh, with his year in charge, has definitely felt that, right, I came in here and I didn't know enough about it. and now I do, and this is what he's deciding to do. That can be spun either way, though. It can be spun as it's great that he's learned on the job, or, well, it shows you he doesn't have a clue what's required. But there's just a more solid feel to Rangers with these appointments, and I think that sort of gives me a little bit of hope. I feel that the club's been unmoored for a while, and I think that this provides a bit of ballast. Before we go, lads, we should talk, of course. No new manager would be coming in if an old one wasn't going out. And Danny Rule has headed out the door. If listeners want to hear what I think about that, they can listen to today's daily update. Colin, I'll start with you and then go round the lads. Danny Rule, your thoughts on his tenure?
I think he came in and done a fantastic job up until the split, and then it all kind of went to shit for him. And I don't know if I'll ever fully understand exactly how that collapse occurred into the manner in which it did and to the extent it did. I don't think this is breaking any new ground or anything, but it's been said a lot. I think it's been said because it's true. Danny Rule is going to become a very good coach. He's probably going to become a relatively decent name in football. There's a reason he's been pinpointed for this job and headhunted for it by Jurgen Klopp. They see something in him. They've got that experience of what he's done in the past and where he's worked before. It just wasn't the right time for us. The right guy at the wrong time, however you want to put it. Had we won a couple of leagues and then been looking for a new manager, he'd potentially come in and been a brilliant pick. Maybe a few more years at a bigger club in an actual manager's position, perfect as well. But he always came across as a good guy that had the best of intentions. The limited interactions I ever had with him in press or anything like that, he was always fantastic. And he goes with my best wishes. This isn't a Russell Martin situation where I'm chasing him out the door and desperate for him to go or anything like that. He goes with my best wishes, and I hope he does well at Salzburg.
Dave?
Don't remember Colin chasing Russell Martin at the door. I must have missed that. But
I got there eventually.
Danny Rule, I think it was just always a job far too early for him. I agree. I think he'll go on to be a fine coach. I don't think he'll be struggling for working football in for any length of time. I think it really hard, a really hard period to analyse. Yeah, I think he'll go on to have a fine career in football management. If he started to realise our season could have turned out different if he was allowed to bring in his own players at the start of the season and build his own team and not try and rescue Russell Martin and Kevin Farewell's fuck up, our season could have turned out differently. But ultimately, I think it was still just a job that was always too early for him. Just the right guy at the wrong time for me.
Kev?
I think the only time Colin chased Russell Martin was looking for what hair products he used. But Danny Rule, I think he's very much a modern day football head coach that will probably go on to do well within the sort of Red Bull setup and modern football clubs, that you can lose a game here or there and learn from your mistakes and grow on the job. Ibrox is not that place at the best of times, never mind the situation that we find ourselves in the last couple of years, more years than I care to remember. Colin touched on it, anytime you were in press or done the Friday press conference, we come and shake your hand. A lovely guy, but like a few of the players we've had over the last couple of years, even managers like you spoke about, Clement, just the wrong fit at the wrong time. Don't wish him ill will. I do wish Russell Martin ill will, but that's a different story. Just good luck to him. He might appear and we'll probably get the what ifs one day. If we'd kept him, we could have done this, that, or the other. I think it was Collins or Dave touched on it earlier on that I think Danny Rule always had intentions to go back to the sort of Red Bull setup. So, yeah, which I don't blame him for. That's not me beating him.
His family were over there as well. You know, I think it was always his time in Britain was, you know, a staging post. He's an ambitious guy. He's only in his 30s. I think in a technical league, and as you say, Kev, well, the expectations are not that you win every game and you're 3-0 up after 20 minutes or everything's shite. I think he'll go on and do okay. I'm not saying he's going to be like a superstar, but I think he'll be a solid manager. But wrong place, wrong time. Right then, folks, that will do us. Obviously, lots more in the network over the next few days. My thanks to the lads for jumping on at short notice. Firstly, to Dave.
Pleasure, guys. Thank you.
To Colin.
Yeah, thank you. And if I can make just one really quick last point. For the first time in a long time, we've got a manager that really hates our biggest rivals.
That is a good point. And I mean, he did anyway, but I think after last season.
Yeah, if he's ever going to be more motivated than now, this is the time. And listen, that's not great tactical analysis. It's not great brains or anything like that. But they hate us. They treat us like they hate us, and it drives them on. And we don't hate them enough, and we haven't for years. So if you can install that, if nothing else, he'll be on his well. He'll be well on his way.
What about that, Kev? Colin getting all staunch. I don't know about you, but I'm a little turned on.
I've done well the last 35 minutes or so. Worked wonders on him. He'll be probably getting a couple of songs on YouTube soon. No.
Londonderry on the foil soon, But no. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. Loads more to come. Until then, welcome, Derek. Go and smash it. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
That was a Heart and Hand production.